Sold out.
This episode of Sports Caffeine is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SC2020. Your balls will thank you. And now, Sports.
It's time to wake up, recover from last night's mess, and get your fix of sports caffeine. It's time to kickstart your day with the latest sports news and opinions. Get ready. Sports Caffeine is live in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome, everybody. It is NFL Sunday. Welcome to Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We are Sports Caffeine. Of course, you probably know a few of us on this show, Chris and I, sometimes Taylor the Troll. It is Sports Caffeine. We are live here at Rafferty's Bar and Grill downtown Sarasota for NFL Week 1. It is finally here, guys.
I am so happy.
F COVID. F COVID.
And I love no preseason. Like let's just get into it. Let's get into the games.
I love it too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, let's just go.
Let's rock. Let's rock and roll. I'm ready.
So it's been a long time coming. COVID had kind of made things up in the air for a while, but it is now week 1 of the NFL. We had a Thursday night game with the Houston Texans. Yeah, it's okay. You can put the
my championship belt down.
Never putting it down.
You can hold it as long as you want.
I just can't. It hides my beautiful shirt.
It's quite all right. Yeah. It has the old logo of the old show. You can sport it as long as you want. It's cool. You're only going to keep it for this season. You're not going to win it again. So it's all good.
Oh, well, we will see.
We will see.
I'm the reigning defeated, undisputed.
No, we're not. We're not doing that. We're not doing that stuff. So, anyways, welcome, guys. I'm El Bushman. To my left of me is Kristen, Taylor, and of course Kaylee from Beauty and the Cleats as well. We want to welcome everybody to Rafferty's Bar and Grill. It's going to be a great show. We haven't been here in a long time. We've got our NFL Week 1 picks in. We're going to go through all this, but we've got to go through all the other stuff that happened throughout the whole week leading up to NFL Week 1. We did have a game on Thursday night against the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. What do you thought? Football is back. You know, the Super Bowl champs have defended their first game for probably for their second run of the title. What do you think of Thursday night's game?
I was really skeptical about all the people who drafted Edwards-Helaire. Those first couple carries, he wasn't getting much. I'm like, oh, why would you waste a top round fantasy draft pick on this guy? And then he blew me away. And I'm surprised he got picked 32nd overall. He is going to be that back that they've needed for the longest time in Kansas City.
You know, I tell you what, though, I had a draft the other day, and it came up to me where he was available. And I was like, man, I don't know if I should take a chance on a rookie. I was like, you know what, screw it. This is only a $50 league. It's not a big money league. I drafted him. So far, so good. I got some great points out of him. So he's looking pretty good. CEH might be the real deal. Taylor, do you think he is it? He's the guy that they drafted?
So unfortunately the only hole in the Chiefs game was the running game, and now they have that filled, so now they're scary good. Like they said the other day that they're the Golden State Warriors basically of the NFL, and I believe it.
I don't know about that.
I mean they're unstoppable on offense at this point.
And they just paid like $1 billion to the whole team. I think somewhere there's no salary caps anymore. So yeah.
Well, and that was the deal, is that I didn't think their defense would really hold up on the back end, and they held strong. I mean, as long as they got to Deshaun Watson, they pressured him every now and then. They pressured him and forced him into that pick. So as long as they're able to do that over and over again, and you have Jones up front stopping the run, I mean, I'm glad the Cowboys are in the NFC.
Do you think with all the guys that they have paid for with all those contracts, do you think Patrick Mahomes is actually fitting the bill with all those contracts? Kaylee?
Yeah.
Definitely?
I mean, yeah, for sure. And you look at them and kind of at this point, everything they needed, like Taylor said, all they needed was a running back. Now they can game manage, right? So what's great about them is their defense is now off the hook a little because they can stretch out those drives. Patrick Mahomes can game manage. They don't have to get off the field as fast as they did before when he was quick to throw the ball pretty much every down. Now, you know, the Houston Texans just couldn't get back on the field. So I think that was their downfall there.
It really looked like with that offense with Patrick Mahomes leading the way, it was finesse at its best. It was really effortlessly. Those guys looked all in sync. I couldn't. Well, maybe in the first couple of drives where you guys had, dropping balls here and there, but I think just getting the rust off of that. Other than that, they looked like they are on a mission to win that second Super Bowl. Let's go on the other side of the ball with the Houston Texans. Kind of looked okay the first couple of drives, and all of a sudden just went to, well, hell. And I think we can probably point the finger at Bill O'Brien for doing that, but that's another story. So let's going forward with the Texans. What do they really need to do to maybe pick up the steam and pick up the pieces from the first game loss against the Chiefs? What do they need to do to going forward? Chris, I'm going to go with
Brandon Cooks needs to get more involved. We saw Will Fuller is going to be the go-to guy there if Will Fuller can stay healthy. But David Johnson was another surprise. And daily fantasy was very cheap, and I'm upset I didn't pick him up more. But we saw both running backs on both sides of the ball. Duke Johnson couldn't get it, but David Johnson was doing well. Brandon Cooks needs to get more involved. He needs to be that deep threat that they had with DeAndre Hopkins, and apparently he's getting covered. And I think a lot of this is with no preseason, no OTAs, no training camps. You're seeing a lot of this rust. I think Houston's still going to be a force to be reckoned with, though.
For anyone that's a fan of the show, it's no surprise that I think Bill O'Brien's the worst coach in the league.
I think everybody's agreeing on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
he is literally, he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. He seems like a nice guy. He's just a terrible coach. He could be a great coordinator. He's one of those coordinators. The Browns have many years of having head coaches that are better coordinators. But David Johnson, it looks like he's back to his old form. They needed a running back, to step in. Deshaun, I don't know. Their offensive line, he's just running around with the chicken with his head cut off.
That's always been the problem with the Texans
Yes.
is they don't have an offensive line, and that's why they've really struggled to keep him upright, and also with the running backs too. Kaylee, I think we can all agree upon that. Without DeAndre Hopkins, this offense is a mess.
Yeah, they're tough. And not only on offense, because they don't have the O-line. That's something if you don't address it and you don't fix it, I don't know how Bill O'Brien still has his job. I mean, that is
he's the
wild.
executive of the year. Executive of the year.
And that's what I don't get is like all these holes are not being filled. They can't stop the run. And I think teams are looking at that and saying, there's no way that their defense is going to get off the field if we can run the ball. So for them, I mean,
there was that one drive that the Chiefs had that just killed them. It was a 9-minute drive. They punctuated with a touchdown in that second quarter, and that it basically just demoralized the whole team, and it ended the game, I thought.
And I mean, J.J. Watt's going to get hurt like week 3 or 4. We know, and will be
100%.
out for a season-ending injury, and then they have no defense because
Yeah.
J.J. Watt's the entire defense they have right now.
So to compete in that division, what do you guys think they need to do moving forward in the season to really compete in that division? What do they need to do? What do they need to move on and really do to pick it up?
I don't think they can.
Okay.
Yeah,
To be honest with you.
protect Watson.
I think it's the Colts and Titans at the top. They're going to be a 6-10, 5-11 team. They're going to be drafting towards the top, and hopefully they can get rid of Bill O'Brien first, get someone in there that can make some great roster decisions and fill in those holes that we were just talking about, and then they can, think about next year.
Kaylee, this is your division. Do you think the Texans and the Jags are maybe finding it out for last place in this division?
oh no, I think the Jags have that solidified, but I think the Texans are a solid third. I don't think they're coming in 1 or 2. They just don't have it.
Okay. What did you guys think of Andy Reid? Andy Reid had the shield going on. It looks like he was at a buffet. He looked like Darth Vader for a second. I wanted to ask all three of you, who wore it better, Andy Reid or Darth Vader?
I mean, did you think he knew it was going to get all like fogged up like that? And I was just like, look at all the COVID on his mask. Thank God he's wearing that because you see it just
I
coming.
was really concerned for Andy Reid. Look, he's a big guy. He's had health problems. He's getting older, and he's got a mask on.
You know what, though? It didn't phase him. I never saw him once get in there and wipe it off. He just kept going on with his business, and good for him.
All right, so who wore it better, Andy Reid or Darth Vader?
Andy Reid,
Andy Reid,
come
okay,
on.
Okay.
Andy Reid, yeah, I saw that Harbaugh or one of the other coaches said that they got a visor placed on his desk for the game, and after he watched that game of Andy Reid, he's like, I'm not wearing that visor. He's like, no way in hell. He's like, I'll just wear my mask, and you won't be able to read my lips, and we'll go from there.
You would think they would put a windshield wiper or have a little mini squeegee just to kind of get all that.
Yeah, he's saying like the coaches are always putting papers over their mouths. Like you have an opportunity now to actually wear a mask, and you're going to wear a clear face shield. I don't get it.
I just want to let everybody know that's watching on social media right now, don't let the NASCAR car, confuse you. We are talking about NFL and football, so don't worry. This is the backdrop at Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We would be up top at the treehouse, but it is monsooning outside, so we are downstairs, actually in a lovely area. It's nice circulation of wind.
On the new outdoor pool table.
That's right. We are on a
Yes.
pool table right now, so it's all good. So if you guys are down in the Sarasota, Bradenton area and want to brave the rain before the games, come on down to Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We'll be downstairs till about kickoff. So let's go on in and look towards 2020. I wanted to ask you three, what teams really made the biggest offseason moves? Now let's let's take away the obvious ones like the Buccaneers. I mean, they made the hugest offseason moves at all. But I wanted to get your thoughts and opinions about really who made the biggest upgrades, who really didn't really, make those moves to make their team better. Kristen, I'm going to go with you.
I really like the Arizona Cardinals, not only with the addition, well, they got Kenyon Drake late in the year last year, the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, drafting Isaiah Simmons, which we thought he was going to go a lot earlier, and he is going to be that guy who can pressure the quarterback, which Arizona's defense had so much trouble. That's why they had to be the air raid offense coming from behind. So I think I'm really excited for this game with San Francisco today, Super Bowl runner-up San Francisco against Arizona. So I think they did a lot of good moves. We all saw Cliff Kingsbury's house during the draft. So, I mean, how could you go against that guy with a house like that?
I think it's the teams that didn't do anything are the teams that are really won the offseason. Like if you win the free agent battle like the Bucs or like the Redskins have in the past and stuff like that.
No, it's the football team.
Not
the Redskins. It's the football. The Washington football team.
I used to call them the racial slurs, so okay. I'll go from there. But I think the teams, just like we mentioned with the Chiefs, just drafting that extra piece. The Cowboys getting that extra weapon on offense. Someone in those regards. That's why the Patriots never win the offseason award, but they always fill in the gaps where they need to do. Titans picking up Clowney, stuff like that. Little moves here and there just to fill in holes and fill in plugs. I really think are going to make the difference over them ones making big splashes like the Bucs. Hence the reason why me and Kaylee agree that the Bucs won't make the playoffs.
you guys both got
the one thing we agree on.
The one thing you guys agreed on. You guys both got so much flack from Bucs fans. Of course, from Set the Sales podcast, which is on Monday nights. Those people were ripping you guys to shreds. It was really funny, but also entertaining as well. So, Kaylee, what team made the biggest offseason moves to get their team right in the right place for 2020?
Yeah, as much as I hate to say this, I think the Colts did a really great job. Not only Phil Rivers, but then you have DeForest Buckner. Those are two pieces that they needed to fill, and they did it very effectively without overspending, in my opinion. And I think for them, that's really going to make the difference this year.
Are there any teams that were kind of a letdown that you thought would make some offseason moves, maybe didn't draft so well, that had really kind of, I'll put it lightly, kind of shat the bed when it came to preparing for 2020? Kristen, I'll go with you.
I mean, I guess I could say the Carolina Panthers. They did bring in Teddy Bridgewater, getting rid of Cam Newton, and we're yet to see if that was a good move. You lose Luke Kuechly, so they spent all 7 of their draft picks on the defense. So basically, you're putting the whole team in CMC's hands here. Because we know Curtis Samuel really hasn't been proven. DJ Moore has been the only guy. You get rid of Greg Olsen. It's really, Carolina is a real big mystery to me. I think they can go really well with Matt Rule at the new coaching position. Teddy Bridgewater, we saw, was stellar last year. Or it could go really, really, really bad with such a young defense with 7 guys trying to replace one Luke Kuechly.
I'm going to resort back to the draft and talk about 2 teams in particular. One, the Packers, obviously drafting a first-round quarterback when that is the last thing that they need.
Exactly.
A last thing. Get a lineman, get a receiver, get someone to help out Aaron Rodgers. Anything. Get someone on defense, just not a first-round quarterback. And then I'm going to resort back to the Eagles as well. I mean, I could rip on the Eagles all day.
No, you're more than welcome to. That's okay.
Yes.
You're more than welcome to.
But for them not to pick up either someone in the secondary and instead draft Jalen Hurts, who once again, I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. He's more so like a Tebow type. So, he's kind of a gimmick player. So for them not to upgrade their team when they really needed to, they were first place in division last year. All they needed, Packers, 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So you don't have a lot of holes to fill. You need to upgrade your team, and they both didn't do it.
Before we get to Kaylee's pick, because I think I already know which team she's already going to pick anyways, can somebody give Aaron Rodgers a hug already? Can we give him a hug? Because after they drafted Jalen Hurts, the sadness on his face. Jordan Love. The sadness on his face just came to an all-time low with Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, him and Matt LaFleur are having a great time together. Their chemistry is so on point. And I actually think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a lot better year than most people believe that he has. I have him in 2 fantasy leagues, had him late as backup quarterbacks in both. But I really think that it's Aaron Rodgers. You can't discount this guy, and I think his chemistry is going to improve.
I will say this. You piss off Aaron Rodgers enough. He's got, 2 years left, maybe even that on his contract. He'll come over to Tampa Bay after Tom Brady leaves. We'll be okay. Kaylee, which team for you? Now, is this one going to go straight to the heart, or are you picking somebody different when it comes to the team that did the worst in the offseason?
I was going to talk about the Eagles and, go a little away from the obvious, but why not, since we already hit the Eagles? The Jaguars continue to disappoint me. It's been 25 years. I have just...
Tank for Trevor.
I mean, and this is the thing, is they didn't have to tank the season. Like, they were in a place where they could have added some weapons, filled some holes. Instead, you have I don't know if they had the most draft picks, but they had a lot. They had a lot of draft picks, 2 in most rounds and 3 in some, and you don't do a thing with it. So now you're relying on DJ Chark, Josh Allen on defense. And while I love them, they're young guys. I would love to see them have breakout years. I don't want to see them be the go-to for anything.
And they got rid of people.
had a running back.
They got rid of
You're
people.
one player, Leonard Fournette, who I don't even like that much, but you get rid of him. It's like, what do we have? Like, I'm confused as to what the plan can even be at this point.
I was going to ask you, what is Shad Khan and that upper management really? What is their thoughts? What are they really doing to make this team better? Because it looks like they're just saying, you know what, screw it, we're just going to play football and not really make our team better.
Yeah, I really don't know. At this point, I think Tony Khan is the one kind of pulling the strings. I think Shad's a little out of it at this point, but
Out of it, jeez. He's in outer space.
out of it, like hands off.
Okay.
You know, I think he's a very intelligent individual, but I think Tony is in there kind of pulling the strings. I think it all results to Dave Caldwell, who's sat in the GM's office and done really nothing for years, nothing of worth, just gets paid. Not sure why he's still there. But I think it's really unfair to Doug Marrone because this is the first year we got rid of Tom Coughlin. He drove so many people away. So you get Doug Marrone, you put the team in his hands for the first time in his coaching career, and now he doesn't even get a team to work with. So you're handing him really the worst team in the NFL, as everyone has agreed.
Even worse than the Detroit Lions
Even
Or
worse.
Washington football team.
I mean,
and the Washington football team.
the odds to win the Super Bowl, I mean, we are double, like, we're double from the Lions.
But listen,
That's
you have
terrible.
Gardner Minshew, and that guy.
First I love Gardner
He
Minshew
can
with
do
all
anything.
of my heart and my soul.
I don't call you the worst team because you have Gardner Minshew.
I
There you
love
go.
him. I
Yeah.
think he's going to do well for himself, but he can't do anything with that team.
I don't. Who's going to be worse than the Jags?
The
No.
Jets, the Redskins, the Lions, the
I
Bears.
think
they're all gonna be
even.
better
I
than
think
the
they're all
Jags.
going to be better.
I think
They're all going to be better.
You never know. The Jags could surprise a lot of people and win maybe 5 games. You never know.
2017 was a surprise. I'll say
Okay.
that. Like that wasn't planned.
There's a fluke in that
but
season.
we don't have any. We don't have any of those guys.
Yeah, all those
Actually,
guys.
literally none of them.
After Fournette, I think Fournette was the last guy to leave. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have nobody left from that AFC Championship team. Okay,
Tough.
let's move on. I know Kaylee doesn't want to talk about her Jags anymore. So let's talk about those dark horse teams. Those teams that may surprise a lot of people. You know, did pretty well in the offseason, but are still kind of under the radar. What dark horse team can you see really popping up and surprising a lot of people? Taylor, I'm going to go with you first.
I mean, from the previous shows, it's not really a dark horse team, but like I said, my pick to make the Super Bowl is the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
Out of the AFC. Reason being, I just think they have everything. I think their defense is stacked. They've got the best offensive line in the league, and that's even speaking ahead of my Cowboys. I think their offensive line is better than the Cowboys. They got Miles Leonard. I mean, they got. I think Rivers will steady the ship over there at the quarterback wise. I know he had a bunch of picks last year, but. You know, they got monsters at running back. They got they got Ty back. They got Paris Campbell who's supposed to step up. I mean, I just think they're destined to and they got. I mean, their coach is one of the best coaches in the league.
And,
as well.
and Philip Rivers is actually reunited with Frank Wright because they were together on the same team at one point. So you got the Colts.
Colts are my team to make the Super Bowl. Who I think they'll beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Okay, Kaylee, what's your dark horse team that's really going to surprise a lot of people?
I also believe in the Colts a lot, but I
Okay.
do.
You guys
think
are agreeing on another
we
thing.
are agreeing on that.
Okay.
I'll go. I don't know if it's a dark horse, but I'll say the Seahawks. I think they often get overlooked. They're obviously really strong in a lot of areas, but now their defense looks lethal. Really, I mean, to be honest with you, Legion of Boom all over again. I have really strong expectations for the Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks are really good. They really start off slow, and then when that
Mhm.
second half season comes on,
That
they put on
momentum.
that throttle, and then it's go time
Yep.
with Pete Carroll and that
They
team.
just got
Chris-
rid of your boy Shaquem.
Okay, we won't talk
Yeah,
about
he's
that.
done that.
I have a beef with Pete Carroll. It's fine. We won't talk about it.
Kristen, what team? I know you kind of
I'm
referred to
going
them
with my
earlier.
Homer.
You're
my
gonna
Homer
go with the
team.
Browns.
So I'm going to go, not even because of the Homer. So everybody jumped on the bandwagon. We go to OBJ. Everyone's like, oh, Mark Wahlberg makes a big bet on them, you know. And then we go and disappoint. Well, Myles Garrett is back for a full season now. Kareem Hunt is going to. He is.
I
yeah.
watch a lot, when I watch the Browns. I specifically only watch Myles Garrett, and every play he cannot be blocked.
Mhm.
Oh,
I-
and we brought in Conklin.
It's amazing to watch.
Now, is that when he's taking off his helmet, or is that before
Even
he's
then,
taking
even
off
then.
his
You know
helmet?
what? You know what? Dude, Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph deserved it, and I will say to the day I die, Mason Rudolph deserved to get hit with the helmet. So, anyways, but going into this year, Kareem Hunt's playing a full season. Baker was humbled so much last year. Baker has lost weight. He's trimmed down. He's heard all the talk. Our defense is going to be solid again this year. We drafted another offensive lineman to protect Baker with bringing in Conklin from Tennessee. I think the Browns, everyone jumped on us last year about the bandwagon. Now they're like, you all suck. And I think we're going to prove them wrong. And I think we're really going to be contenders for a wild card. I think Baltimore is going to win the division, but I think the Browns will be a wild card contender.
I mean, because you guys looked good on paper last year, and then
We'll try bringing Browns in every year. Next year's our year.
so I mean, you guys
this is next year, right?
you guys look good on paper again this
You're
year.
0 over your last 12.
But you know what? I like Stefanski a
about
lot
that?
better. Stefanski has proven he can
I
deal
haven't
with
had a
big
winning
running
season in
backs.
13 years.
We have an actual coach now that is, not Freddie Kitchens. And is Freddie Kitchens even coaching anywhere right now? I'm not
I
even
think
sure.
he is a defensive
coordinator
coordinator
somewhere, probably in New York Jets.
Probably in the New York Jets. So
Yeah.
you think Baker's going to take a step forward? You see no regression from him at all.
I definitely I think he might be a little more conservative. I think he might not try to do these things he did at Oklahoma where you can throw, it's not college anymore, and he's seen what the NFL has to offer and what these guys coming at him. And I think it's going to be a really hard game today. I don't think the Browns win today. Same with the Seahawks. I think they're really good. I don't think they win today either, but I think that the Browns
The Browns do play in one of the toughest divisions in the league with the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bengals as well. I wouldn't sleep on the Bengals either. They might be.
I'm not
They might be
sleeping
good.
on
They
the
might
I
be
am.
good.
I am interested to see how Baker does because once again, for some reason, I did
call
watch
him
a
his
lot
real
of
name, Flaker Mayfield.
Flaker. Well, for some reason, I did watch a lot of Browns football last year, and he just like on the defense, I watched Myles Garrett every single play. I would watch Baker Mayfield every single play as well, and he was, where's my X receiver? Bail out the backside and try and make something happen on the backside, and he would make some stupid mistake every single time. And it was every single play. He did the same thing over and over
That's the
again.
thing.
So-
I don't think he trusts Kitchens. I think he wanted to take matters in his own hands, and I think Stefanski has a lot more reign of that locker room.
This scheme is also much better suited to him than Freddie Kitchens was. So I think for him, he's going to try to be a leader in a different way. And I think that's really going to show this season. I think he can't be that flashy guy from college anymore. So I'm hoping that he steps it up.
It's interesting. Once again, with no preseason, we have no one has any freaking idea until these games get started. So that's why I'm so excited because no one has any idea besides these coaches and these teams. No one can prepare for anyone based on last year's tape, and that's about it.
We had some info from the crowd. My dad, our facts and information guy. Kitchens is the tight end coach for the New York Giants.
Okay, so he is on a New York team.
He's on a New York team.
He is on a New York team. Okay, so let's go back. Let's reel it back on. You mentioned coaches. There's a lot of coaching changes this past offseason. We've seen a ton of them. So what coaches that I know Carl's got a comment for Taylor. You're ugly, by the way.
I agree with
Fugly,
Carl.
fugly.
I agree with Carl's comment.
Okay. If you guys are joining us on social media, we're here at Rafferty's Bar and Grill, one of our sponsors for the show. It's Sports Caffeine live at Rafferty's Bar and Grill for NFL Week 1. Coaches on the hot seat. We saw so many changes this past offseason. What coaches are really their seat is burning or start to warm up? Which coach do you see really have to put up or shut up or they're going to get fired after the 2020 season? Kayla, I'll start with you.
Doug Marone's getting fired regardless of how the season goes. I don't see a way he saves his job. And Bill O'Brien should be on the hot seat. I don't think he will be, but this offseason was atrocious. Their showing on Thursday was terrible, and I don't see them getting any better. So I think a lot of coaching turnover should happen in the AFC South.
Taylor?
I mean, Bill O'Brien obviously needs to go, but then I think Gase with the Jets, he's going to go because he's not a player's coach at all. He doesn't even talk to his players. So I think he's going to go. I think obviously if we're going to go on the other hand, the best coaching decision was obviously my Cowboys picking up Mike McCarthy so we could actually have a good game plan, a good offense. I know. I'm just going the other end of the
about
spectrum.
Cold seat.
Well,
Yeah.
Gase and Bill O'Brien,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gase definitely I agree. You have Le'Veon Bell, that talent, and you just have no idea how to utilize him. Matt Patricia. I think Matt Patricia is definitely on the hot seat there. You have Matthew Stafford. It's hard to be the Lions coach. It's just like being the Browns coach. You're on the hot seat all the time. But I think Matt Patricia, I never thought he was a really good fit for the organization. So I think Patricia is definitely on the hot seat.
One of our co-hosts who will be joining us possibly next week, Chip, has said Dan Quinn from the Falcons is on the hot seat. That team actually
Interesting.
won him his job on the last 8 weeks of the season. So Dan
But
Quinn,
it's an even year. So Matt Ryan's going to have a big year, and Dan Quinn's going to stay coach for another year and be on the hot seat next year.
we shall see. Okay, I like those picks. I mean, I agree with you. Adam Gase should have been gone last year. Bill O'Brien, I think really he needs to step away from the GM role because of his moves on the draft has been so terrible, and free agency as well. Letting your best player go for David Johnson and a nickel and a Washington machine, that was very, very
I
terrible.
don't know how they got. I don't know how.
I can't understand how his owners were like, well, if this is what you want to do, Bill, You go right ahead. I can't understand
How
how
does, he
that.
how does he have that much power? I just don't get it.
Well, he
I'm
brought
all-
Penn State back from, the really bad time at Penn State, and he really rose Penn State to prominence again after a terrible, terrible situation. And I think that's what, it's like Odell hanging his hat on that one catch. Bill O'Brien, had that great year at Penn State, and now I'm going to throw real quick in there. Dolphins and Bengals. Your Brian Flores and Zach Taylors. I think this is their year too. If Burrow doesn't produce this year, I can see the Bengals going in the direction Miami as well. They've given these guys a couple of years and they've gotten a lot of talent built around them. So if they can't do something with those talent, I think those guys are also on hot seats.
I don't think so. I think they at least get one more
I
year
didn't
after
ask
this
you.
one.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I mean, you got a new quarterback in the new system with him at the Bengals with Joe Burrow and with Brian Flores. I mean, you drafted too. He's probably going to start midway through the season, even though it depends on how Ryan Fitzpatrick does.
We also saw Fitzmagic can do some big things there. So.
I know he could do so, and he
In
might do some
training
big things
camp.
today. Well, I'll keep that for our picks later on in the game or the show. So before we go take our first break, COVID has really hit pro sports in the most weirdest ways. We don't have any fans at all. Some teams today are actually going to bringing in fans. If it's not monsooning down in Miami, the Miami Dolphins will be having players at their stadium. The Chiefs had fans at their stadium too as well. Will we eventually see full stadiums in this year in the NFL? Will we eventually see a full packed house at these stadiums for the NFL?
Maybe the Super Bowl. That's the first time I can see it because there might
Okay.
be a vaccine by then. It's late enough in the year where, but I think that's maybe the only thing I could see a packed stadium for.
I don't see it.
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
That's
okay.
No.
All right. Well, I guess we're all agreeing on that. Well, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we've got some predictions about who's going to win the divisions. We'll go our Super Bowl picks. We'll do some Rookie of the Years, MVPs, and then we'll do our picks for NFL Week 1. It is Sports Caffeine live at Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We'll be right back. All right, and welcome back. It is Sports Caffeine Live. Did I surprise you there, Taylor?
Yeah, you
Okay.
did.
Well,
I was in chillax
from one of
mode.
our comments on social media, it was a long commercial break. Well, you know what? We like to have long commercial breaks. It's part of the show. So, anyways, welcome back. You guys, right there on camera. Welcome back to Sports Caffeine Live at Rafferty's Bar and Grill for NFL Week 1. We're excited to be here. It's been a long time.
And it has been
been
a
a
long
very
time.
long
It's
time.
been about since the Super Bowl.
It has. We didn't get to do an NFL draft show like we have done
Yeah,
in the
that's true.
past.
COVID's ruined everything.
I know.
And that Thursday game too, it gives you just a tease, and then you got to wait another few days. And now I'm just amped up and ready to go. And then my Cowboys don't even play till tonight, so I got to wait even longer. It's like killing me. I'm going nuts, but I'm super excited for these games, except for the Jets and Bills, and go from there.
So we are streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, all the above. So you guys can catch us on all the social media platforms. We're also streaming on fanstreamsports.com. Make sure to download the app as well. And if you want to get some trimmed up for the NFL season, make sure to go to manscaped.com. Use our code SC2020 for 20% off and free shipping. Yes, we have to plug our sponsors. So let's get into it. We've got divisions. Let's go through the divisions. We want to see who's going to come out the winner, who's going to be in last place. So let's go with the AFC East to start. Who do you guys think is going to come out in that division? The Patriots no longer have Tom Brady. Now they have Cam Newton, but it seems like this division is kind of up for grabs, except for maybe the Jets, who might be at the bottom of the barrel. So, Kaylee, I'm going to go with you first. Who do you think is going to come out of the AFC East having that crown?
I think the Patriots are still going to be up there.
Really?
I honestly think Cam Newton, I think under Bill Belichick, I think he's also adjusting his coaching, right? He's not settled into the same system he's had for 20 years. He's really adjusting. He likes Cam Newton. And if he likes Cam Newton, I feel pretty confident they'll make something happen.
I'm agreeing.
Okay.
I think the Patriots are. You can't bet against the Patriots until they start losing, and they haven't lost ever. And so the reason why Bill Belichick is the best coach of all time is because he can adapt, just like she said. He adapted to Matt Castle. He's a defensive genius, so he can adapt his defense based on the personnel. His offense, he doesn't need to worry about it. That's why you got whatever his name is, the offensive coordinator,
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. That's right.
I was just about to bring him up. I'm sure Josh McDaniel is like, dude, I get to do whatever now. Like, I've got Cam Newton. I can have him spread the ball around. I can have him do some running plays instead of old legs Tom Brady just sit back in the pocket and try to throw the ball.
Yeah, and you have James White there who can be a receiver, running back, everything. But I can't go with the Patriots. They've lost too much on defense. Plus, they have Patrick Chung sitting out. They have a few guys that opted out. Kyle Van Noy's now in Miami, who knows a lot about Miami there. But I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Bringing in Stephon Diggs, drafting Zach Moss. Josh Allen has been really, really great. And, they have the secondary that's really a force to be reckoned with there. So I'm going to take the Bills finally. Circle the wagons. Let's go Buffalo Bills.
Kristen, me and you are going to agree on that as well. So let's tap
This is a
Mike.
smart side of the table.
Exactly. Smart side of the table. We've got the newbies on the show,
Okay.
the oldies on the show.
Me and Kaylee are starting to agree on a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see at the end of the season. We got 2 Bills, 2 Patriots. I wanted to ask the three of you, do you think the Dolphins are going to be mediocre, or are they going to be really terrible? And do you think the Jets are just terrible altogether?
I think the Dolphins are there to muddle things and mess it up. I think they'll probably be around a 500 team, maybe just above 500, but I think they're going to have some wins they shouldn't have, and they're just going to be in there to mix it all up and, make it fun.
I think they're going to be about 6-10, 7-9. They're obviously going to be better than the Jets. I mean, they're going to finish third place. It's Pats, Bills, Dolphins, Jets are going to be vying for a top 2 pick.
For sure. I agree with that. I think the Dolphins don't quite know what to do with their personnel, which I think has a lot to do with not having a preseason, not really getting to see Tua, kind of what he's going to bring to the NFL game. But I do think that you go in with 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. I don't think Fitzpatrick is a full regular season quarterback to begin with. I think he's a training camp
Even with the
quarterback.
beard and looking like
Even with
Conor
the
McGregor
beard.
sometimes?
I don't care if he braids it, dyes it rainbow. I don't care. He's not great, and he's not going to last more than maybe 3 to 4 games, and then we're going to see Tua, and I think that's a big shift, and I don't think they
My
survive.
question to you guys, Jordan Howard, third team, third year. Now they bring Matt Breida over. What do you think about the running game in Miami? Is it going to be? I don't trust Jordan Howard, so I just want to get your guys' opinion on that.
I mean, I think they're going to try and rely heavy on it, but I think they're going to see themselves falling behind a lot of games so that they're not going to be able to withstand it
Right.
for too long. So, and then you're going to have Fitzpatrick come in, and he's going to be trying to sling it around, and he's going to fall back into his ways and make a lot of mistakes. And that's the reason why they're going to lose a lot of games. Their running game maybe help them withstand some drives and keep them in some games, and that maybe be able to pick off a win here and there that we're not expecting. But they're going to try and rely on it, but ultimately it's Fitzpatrick's going to.
Okay, let's move on to the AFC West. I think we all can kind of agree on who is going to win this division, which is probably the Chiefs. Yes, all the way around.
Yeah, I don't even know who's going to get second. It's like Chiefs and everyone else is last.
Well, let's discuss that. So you got the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers battling out for that second, third, and fourth. So out of those three teams, which one do you think is going to be in second place underneath the Chiefs?
It's the Tyrod Taylor show. He's finally getting a fair shake with the Chargers.
Kaylee just gave you an ugly look.
Hey, you know what? He's never gotten a real fair shake. I think Tyler Taylor does have a lot of potential, and they have a great defense. You have Joey Bosa and Ingram in that backfield there, and they're going to pressure guys. Austin Eckler, which we hate to say, had a great season.
PPR machine.
And yeah, you got Keenan Allen still there. I just think that the Chargers, I don't trust the Raiders or the Broncos, so the Chargers have to take second.
Don't let Carl hear you say you don't trust the Raiders.
I don't trust the Raiders, but I love Carl.
Okay. Kaylee, that look on your face like you just smelled a fart, I really want you to.
Taylor also just farted.
Okay. I really want you to kind of elaborate on that look when she just said the Chargers.
I don't trust the Chargers at all. And I think anyone relying on Tyrod Taylor, you're in a bad place mentally. I don't think that he's going to be the savior they think he's going to be. I think they've lost guys, big guys for their game. And I think the Broncos are going to be better than people give them credit for. I think the Raiders are a mystery. We don't know. There's a lot of young guys. We haven't really seen them together like that. But I'm going to say the Broncos are in second, the Raiders and the Chargers battling it out for third.
I agree with Kaylee once again. I think the Chargers, they lost their All-Pro safety again for the second year in a row. Great guy from FSU. I think they're eventually going to, try and push Herbert to the front of the line, and I just think Herbert's garbage. So I don't think they're going to end up doing anything good. The Broncos, I do agree with. I like Drew Lock. I don't like him, but I like him better than anyone else in that division that you can rely on. So I'm
we might be a co-host for Beauty and the Cleats.
I was going to say, should we have another spin-off show with us agreeing on everything? Okay. So I wanted to ask you guys, with Tyrod Taylor being under center now, how many games do you think we will see him under center until we see Justin Herbert take over that offense? Sooner rather than later, or do you think Tyrod is going to be in that position throughout the season?
I think it's going to be an opposite situation than what we talked about with Tua. I think Tua is going to get in a lot earlier with, like she said. I think she said against the Seahawks. I think they're going to wait till the week after the Seahawks just because they don't want him to get murdered. Herbert isn't good, so I don't think they're going to really bring him in until they're out of it. Okay. And so I'm thinking later in the season, week 10, 12, 14. Just to give him some reps, but I don't think they're going to give him to the forefront because he's just not good.
Hey, when I was talking to Rosalie on the fantasy show, my stardom sit-up, she's for daily fantasy. She's saying Tyrod Taylor is a steal. He is actually really, really cheap, and she expects him to have a good game against the Bengals. So just for this week,
it is the Bengals.
Yeah, it's true. So
it is
if you're looking for a daily fantasy guy, a little nugget there from Rosalie, our girl.
With Geno Atkins out, play everyone against the Bengals.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the AFC North. This division is really one of the toughest, meanest, most competitive ones in the NFL. We've got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers. I think we can kind of all agree the Ravens will probably run away with this one, but I don't want to count out the Steelers. So we got Big Ben back. Hopefully his drunken Santa days are over. He's healthy. He's looking lean. He shaved off the beard. What do you guys think? Do you think the Steelers and the Browns are going to be battling out? Do you think the Bengals could be a surprise team that really competes for this division? Or do you think it's going to be the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and the Bengals? What do you guys think? Haley, I'll go with you first.
I think that's pretty accurate. I think the race for first is going to be closer than we think it is. I think the Steelers are going to be good. I mean, last year they had worst case scenario and still almost made the playoffs, and that's just who the Steelers are. So I think, with Big Ben healthy, assuming he's 100%, it's going to be a closer race than I think a lot of people think it is. But I think the Ravens come out on top. I love Lamar Jackson, and I think people have seen him, but I think they're good enough. They've added those pieces to still stay surprising.
Well, that's one thing that we actually disagree on. So
cancel the show. Cancel the show.
I am not a Lamar Jackson fan. I think he's a great guy, nice guy. He's from Miami. Love that, but I just don't think he's very good. I think once you can game plan,
he won an MVP last year.
Yeah, but once you get him in the playoffs,
he got exposed in the playoffs. Totally exposed.
Both years, and I think if you really sit down,
first year doesn't really count.
Yeah, for sure.
First year doesn't really count. Second year, maybe. I mean, he did win an MVP.
I just don't think. I mean,
he's not that good.
I think it's one and done. I think it's one and
But he's
done.
been in the league 2 years.
I do think that the Ravens are going to win. I think they're going to be around 11-5. I think the Steelers and Browns are both going to be around 500. And Joe Burrow is actually my favorite quarterback in that division because I think he is the real deal and I think he's got it. So, but I think he's better than Ben. I think he's better than Lamar. I think he's better than whoever else is in that division.
Well, Lamar's not going to take him there. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins from the Ohio State University, replacing Mark Ingram, the 31-year-old, in December. Yes, but I think that the Ravens, I do agree, though, it's going to be a little bit closer. I think that, again, I don't think the Bengals are going to be good, but they're going to be like the Dolphins. They're going to muddle things up. They're going to win games they shouldn't win and kind of make things a little awkward. And I think you're going to have the Browns and Steelers vying for that second spot. And I'm going to go with my Browns.
I was going to say, Kristen, this is your division. This is the Browns division. So
I mean, we did beat the Ravens in the first game last year.
Wait, so you're picking the Ravens to win the division?
I am picking the Ravens to win the division.
Wow.
She's being
But in the Browns to
realistic.
take second. Browns to take
realistic,
second,
okay.
yes. And I'm picking this.
She's being realistic there, Taylor. She's being
I
realistic.
didn't win the belt by going with my heart.
All right, so we touched on this division a little bit earlier. So AFC South, we've got the Colts, Jags, Titans, and Texans. I think we can all agree Colts probably taking this one home. Yes?
Yes.
I already picked them to go to the Super Bowl, so
Okay.
hopefully they're winning the division.
All right, so let's move on to the NFC. Let's go with the NFC East first. This one is probably been one of the mediocre, almost terrible divisions in
Worst division in football.
Probably worst
Yeah.
division of all football. We
Yeah,
can say
yeah.
the past couple of years. The NFC least, as I've dubbed them many times in many years. So Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and now the Washington football team. Who we got coming out of this division? Do you think it's the Cowboys, or do you think the Eagles and the Cowboys are going to battle out and the Eagles are going to be the division winners? Taylor, I'm going to go with you last since this is your division. Kaylee, I'll go with you first. Who do you think is coming out of the NFC East?
It is the Cowboys division to lose. I don't think it's going to be close. I think they're going to take it. I think the Eagles are missing key point, a wide receiver. Their secondary is trash pretty much. So I think they're going to struggle a lot more than people think they're going to struggle. I think the Giants, I love Daniel Jones. I love everything he's
Danny
about.
Dimes.
I like watching him, but I don't think he's going to make or break their season. I still think they're going to end up third. And then the Washington football team, they have bigger problems than what's going on the field. And I think Ron Rivera at this point just needs to focus on that.
Gotcha.
Not the
It's
game.
going to be fun to hear the play-by-play calls for the Washington football team. Oh, the Washington football team scores. Oh, that's awesome. Now it's not the Redskins anymore.
Well,
so
they're never going to say that.
they'll say the football team.
Well, they're not going to score.
They'll say
Well,
Washington.
that's
Yeah,
right. They
there's
are
going to be
gonna
no
score. That's
scoring.
right. Okay.
So, I mean,
Field goals.
we're about-
Second-year quarterback Dwayne Haskins has been named the starter.
The
for-
Ohio State University.
Okay, that's a nice plug for you, as usual.
If you have an Ohio State quarterback as your quarterback,
Joe
You're
Burrow
not
is
gonna be
also
good.
from the Ohio State University. People soon forget.
Well, then he went to
Yeah,
LSU.
because he wasn't good enough to start at the Ohio State University.
Ron Rivera has a real.
He left.
He's got some shoes to fill coming over from Carolina. He's really trying to make this team tougher, meaner. Dwayne Haskins, year 2 of being the starter for the Washington football team. Do you think he's going to get it done? Do you think we'll see an improvement from Dwayne Haskins from that last year, or do you think it's going to be the same old ex-Redskins?
he can't be any worse. So
Well, the one
Fair.
thing I did hear about him, he last year, he would make a mistake and he would look around to see to blame somebody else. And this year, he's looking at himself. If he makes a mistake in practice, he's looking at what can I do better. Which I think when you play 1 year at Ohio State and you set you have the highest touchdowns and it was almost not a fluke season, but yeah, you need to have accountability. And he came in with this big head, and so now all of a sudden he's going to be a little more accountable. But it pains me to say it, but Dallas is going to run away with this division. Dallas is so talented.
wow, love it.
I know.
Love
I
it.
want to puke on you right now.
Love it. I mean, obviously, I'm going Cowboys. I mean, not only did we pick up CD in the draft, we also picked up Aldon Smith, who's going to wreck house. We picked up Everson Griffin, who literally led the league in sacks a couple of years ago. So we're just be coming after our secondary's garbage.
Yeah, I think Zeke's going to be the running back one this year. I think he's going to win the crown of running backs this year with that schedule. But playing all those teams twice, you have no problem.
Yeah, now we got McCarthy, who can actually game plan. We don't have the clapper just sitting over there clapping all day. We got McCarthy, who knows how to game plan, who knows how to win, who will dictate this offense around Zeke, around Dax, and around their positive attributes.
Taylor, I do have a question for you. Do you think Mike McCarthy took that whole year off actually studying how the game is played now, or do you think he's still stuck in the old 1990s when he used to coach the Packers?
I guess we're going to find out tonight because it's hard, really. No one knows. No one knows for sure, but he's been around football so long. I think that anyone that doesn't adapt, you die. So just like we talked about with Belichick, he's adapted all these years, and that's why they've been so good for so long. I think the same goes for any good coach. So we'll see if
I
McCarthy
want your
does it.
thoughts on Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin, he's great. He's great.
Okay, you think he's going to be?
Yeah,
I mean, he's my backup tight end. I don't know.
It was his year last year, and then Witten came in and got all his touches. But he's shifty. He's faster than he seems, and he's got great hands. He's got amazing hands. The Eagles obviously have a garbage secondary, as we mentioned. They actually just lost their guard for the year the other day. Obviously, Wentz throwing swing passes 80 times a game isn't going to get it done. So I'm going Cowboys, Eagles second. I'm going to go Giants third, and the Washington team fourth.
All right, NFC North, Packers coming out of that division 13-3 last year with Aaron Rodgers and first head coach LeFleur. Do you think the Packers are going to get it done again? They're going to come out of this division, or do you think the Vikings will actually contend for this NFC North crown like they kind of did last year before falling off a little bit? Kaylee, I'll go with you first.
I'm going to go with the Vikings. I just don't think the Packers did Aaron Rodgers any favors. I don't think they're really setting him up to kind of be a division leader. So I think, the Vikings are going to take it. The Packers will be up there. The Bears are going to take third because the Lions are just so terrible and they will remain that way. So
I wanted to ask you guys about the Bears. Mitch Trubisky is now back at the starting quarterback position. Even though
we still doing that?
Yes, we are still doing that. Yes.
I'm very confused.
Nick Foles was brought over from your Jacksonville
Thank
Jaguars.
He played like 2 plays with Jacksonville and broke his leg. So he wasn't really
that
going to
is
jag.
Nick Foles.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trubisky is now the guy. He's starting back again for the Bears. Do you think Trubisky is going to take the helm of this team and really lead them to the promised land? Or is Nick Foles going to take over the reins maybe halfway through the season from Trubisky?
either way, it's bad.
Yeah, they're both
Like,
they're both going to
bad.
get a lot of reps this year. I think. I think Trubisky and Wentz are pretty much mirror copies of each other, where all they do is they're athletic, but all they do is throw swing passes, and they can't make a throw when you need to make a throw, and they're terribly inaccurate. So
Yeah.
I think they're both going to get playing time, but I'm actually going to go with the Packers. I think, even though, like we mentioned, that they didn't do any upgrades to their team like they should have for Aaron Rodgers is going to will this team to victory no matter what. As long as he stays healthy, he's
a bad man.
He's a bad man, and
man.
he's obviously done it to my Cowboys multiple times in the playoffs, and he just wills this team to victory. And he doesn't, as long as he's breathing, as long as he can move around a little bit, he's gonna be able to lead them to the division.
Our last 2 divisions before we take our second break, before we go into our picks for week 1, the NFC West. I think this division is one of the best divisions in all of NFL. 49ers came out big with Jimmy G and company, even though the defense really carried that team last year. But the Cardinals really did well in the draft and free agency. The Rams I don't know what the Rams are in this quandary right now. They spent too much money putting all their wad and blowing in that one year, and now the Seahawks are really surprised. The Seahawks come out in the second half of the season. This whole division is stacked. Do you think the 49ers are going to repeat, or do you think somebody else is going to come out of the NFC West?
No, 49ers have too much. They're too young at wide receiver. They were good last year. I think there's too much competition in this division. I think Seattle does. I know Kaylee was hiding them earlier. I think Seattle comes out. You get Chris Carson if he's healthy all year. Tyler Lockett healthy all year. We know Russell Wilson's amazing. Hey, Dwayne Lindo's in the house.
What's up, man? Dwayne Lindo.
So yeah, I think the Seahawks. It's going to be a fun division to watch. I don't think the 49ers are the team they were last year. I even them getting to the Super Bowl was a lot of their defensive play. So I think the Seahawks come away with this division.
I agree. Actually, the 49ers last year were my dark horse team to make the Super Bowl, and they did. And their defense is going to lead the way as well, but they literally have 0 wide receivers. They have 0, absolutely 0. They bring in 4 or 5 new wide receivers every day, pretty much, to try and fill those gaps. Jimmy G's going to try and find Kittle as much as possible, but
he's the only guy on the offense that's going to be thrown to is George Kittle.
But as Kaylee mentioned earlier, Seahawks defense is just so nasty, and Russell Wilson, is going to do his thing. So I think it's going to be Seahawks. I think the Niners are going to finish second. I think the Cardinals, even though you talked about their upgrades, I'm not a believer in Kyler. I'm not a believer in their coach.
No, they're a great fantasy team. Going to put up a lot of
But
numbers
I think they're
offensively.
going to end up 4 and 12 and be last, and the Rams will be.
Kaylee, do you think the Cardinals could really compete for this division? I mean, they've got a lot of new toys on offense. Their defense was upgraded in the draft and also in the offseason. What do you think about the Cardinals in this division?
I think if you take any of these teams out of this division, they could be division leaders. But I think all in one division, the Cardinals are going to be competing for second. I really like the Seahawks, and I think they can put up a fight against the 49ers because, like you said, they made those upgrades. I think the 49ers are going to have major hangover. They're struggling on offense. Their defense will be stacked, but I think the Cardinals can make a play at second.
Okay, our last division before we take our second break. NFC South, my division, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They did some moves in the offseason. I know they brought in some old quarterback,
Yeah, some
some
old
old
guy.
tight ends, some
Guy
other
who's been
guys
out of the league
too.
for a while.
Some guy from Jacksonville came over too. So, Bucks, Saints, Panthers, and Falcons. Which team is coming out of this division, the NFC South? Taylor, I'm going to go with you first.
I'm going Saints. Saints all day, baby. I think Drew Brees. I mean, you can't ever count out Sean Payton and the ways he crafts an offense. And Kamara's. Or did he get paid yet?
He got his
He got
money.
paid.
5
He got
years,
paid. Okay.
$75 million
Yeah,
extension.
another waiting for the shoes to drop for Dalvin to get paid first before he got his contract. So I think he's really, as long as he's healthy, he's gonna kick some butt this year. So I think the Saints are gonna actually run away with the division. To be honest with you, I think the Bucks are gonna finish second, but like I said, I think they're gonna be around.
You said they're going to
500.
miss the playoffs.
Right, that's missing the playoffs second.
Okay.
They're going to be around 500, a little bit less, 7 and 9. I think Falcons will be third. And I think the Carolina is going to pull up the rear.
I'm just waiting on comments from
Yeah,
Bucks fans.
I'm just curious. Nick, before I answer this, Nick, are the Falcons going to be good this year?
That's not confident. That's not
For some
confident.
reason, I just feel like the Falcons could be sneaky. I feel like it's a resurgence of Todd Gurley. I feel like they pulled together. Matt Ryan's in an even year. Calvin Ridley with big year last year. I think
I
Hayden
don't
Hurst
know.
every
I
year.
mean, Matt Ryan, he throws so many wide receiver screens, and every time he throws a wide receiver screen, it doesn't make it
That
there, and I
Fal-
just feel like it's going to be a pick
that
six.
Falcons
every single
defense
time.
is what scares me. And, Malcolm Jenkins back on the Saints again. My boy Malcolm Jenkins. So I think I'm going to go with the Saints as well.
The dumb
Saints have
time.
had so many bad breaks. I think Drew Brees wants one more before he retires. I can't go
Which will
against.
probably next year.
Yeah.
might be.
I can't go against. Can't guard Mike. He catches everything, and Taysom Hill. Just throw him anywhere on the field. I mean, he's
Any
making
chance we'll
tackles,
see
he's-
Jameis Winston taking over
No.
the helm? Okay.
No.
I think
No,
we're
but back to her point about Drew Brees is that obviously you could tell by the latter part of last year that his skills were declining.
the zip
So-
on the ball was
Oh,
not
yes,
there.
It was not there. It was so, but I think Sean Payton's crafty enough to design the offense to play to his strengths. He throws a lot of those slants to Michael Thomas.
Well, we saw
He's
with
gonna
Teddy
give Kamara the ball.
Bridgewater went undefeated under
Right.
Sean Payton adjusting for him last year.
Kaylee, Saints, Bucks. Who's coming out?
Saints, obviously Saints.
You're dead to me. Get off the
running
show.
running away with it. Like it's not even going to be close, but I do think at the end of the day, the Panthers and Falcons will be battling it out for fourth, not even third, because they're both probably going to be pretty bad. So
Okay. Well, you all are dead to me because I'm picking the Bucks to win this division.
Have fun doing a show by yourself.
Are you picking the Bucks to go to the Super Bowl? Do we know that yet? Are we
No.
making those picks yet?
Super
No,
Bowl
that's
or
coming
bust.
up. That's coming up. We're going to take our second break. When we come back, we'll do our MVPs, Super Bowl picks, and then we'll do our picks for week 1. It is Sports Caffeine live at Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. Sports Caffeine live from Rafferty's Bar and Grill for NFL Week 1. It is finally back. Yes, those are some great signs. You have some great
It's like a college game day. Bring your signs to Rafferty's, everybody.
Yeah.
Bring signs that say Taylor's dumb.
I honestly think
Put 'em up.
before Chip gets back, we should get a Chip Big Head and put it behind us. That would be
I'm
so
ordering
cool.
it this week.
Well,
Okay.
we're still doing the loser of the pick'em. It's
Yeah,
gonna be-
so what is going on for the new people on the show? If you lose on Pick'ems on the week, you get a punishment that week after for week 2. So
I had to do
Fair.
some burpees last year.
I need spicy hot wings,
Chip did a cement mixer shot.
which was gross. One of our old co-hosts got kicked in the stomach by an MMA
I dressed like a
boxer.
clown.
That's
You dress
She
like a
got dressed like a
clown.
clown. I had to dress in a tank top in freezing cold weather. Yeah, so the punishments are for real. So let's get into our Super Bowl picks for this year. Who do we think is going to go all the way to the big show in Tampa this year for the Super Bowl? What do you guys got? Kaylee, I'm going to go with you first. Who do you think is going to be your Super Bowl picks for this year?
I think the Chiefs are coming back.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going Colts and Cowboys. Obviously, as I said before, I think the Colts are going to come up with a game plan to not only beat Patrick Mahomes somehow. I mean, after Thursday, I don't think it's possible to really beat the Chiefs at this point, but eventually down the road, I think it's beat Colts Cowboys.
Kristen, who do you got?
I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they figured it out this year. I think Lamar has been embarrassed too much. He has that chip on his shoulder. And God, coming out of the NFC, I'm going to take the Saints. Like I said, Drew Brees gets one
Wow.
more. Drew Brees finally, after all the whatever, the flag gate and the gate of this gate and that gate and all the losses they had.
Look at refs.
Yeah, the ref gate. So I think
I am going to go Bucks, Ravens.
Okay.
Because I want it to be the first time ever where
Oh
a Super Bowl
my
team
God.
gets the I know I'm a homer.
It's
Whatever.
a curse.
no, but you know
It's
what?
not a
It's
curse.
not even like a bad pick.
Yeah, no, Bucks or Ravens. Come
Well,
on now.
considering they're not making the playoffs,
Yeah,
it's kind of a
they're-
bad
What
pick.
dad are you wearing? My dad's wearing a
Irrelevant.
brown. Is that a brown shirt?
That's a
today?
brown shirt.
Where's your Bucks shirt?
Boo.
He'll be a Bucks fan next week.
Smart
Don't
man.
worry.
I mean, they're both fine.
All right, let's get into a little bit of fantasy football. Kristen, you have your show. The pick is in. You had Rosalie Michaels on the other day. Let's talk a little bit of fantasy. What do you got for starts and sits this week? Who do you think you need to be in your lineup, and who do you need to be out of your lineup?
Well,
for
you
this
need
week?
Miles Sanders and Kenny Galladay to be out of your lineup because those were two of my first 3 picks in the Rafferty's league, and they're both on my bench this week.
And any San Francisco wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Ayuk might have a game, but yeah, Debo Samuel's also out. Mike Evans is going to play today.
Yes.
So as I said, for daily fantasy, if you're looking for some streaming quarterback, Tyrod Taylor's really good on there. Deshaun Jackson, sleeper of the week. Me and Rosalie both agreed on that. Deshaun has scored 7 touchdowns against Washington in his career, which is the most of any team in his career. Deshaun Jackson has about 130 yards every season opener and a touchdown. He has 4 touchdowns in his last 3 season openers. So Deshaun Jackson is going to be a guy. If you have him, you want to start him. You're going to sit Austin Hooper today. I know everyone's really high on Austin Hooper after last year. The Ravens are going to shut down the Browns passing game.
Credit tight end roster you guys got in the Browns. You guys still have Njoku and everything, so the ball's going to be spread around a lot.
It is. I mean, you got a lot of mouths to feed in that Cleveland offense there. So obviously you're starting your big guys that you have. Anyone you drafted in the first couple of rounds, you're going to be starting. But Josh Jacobs, look for Josh Jacobs to have a huge game against Carolina today. I'm betting Josh Jacobs to have more rushing yards than CMC today. That is my bet there. Any questions that you guys have?
I agree. With most of what you're saying.
Any surprise guys do you think that will really break out in week 1 and just go from there for that the whole season?
I'm actually really intrigued about your boy Garner. I have him on a bench,
Oh.
and I think that
It's the stash. It's the mustache.
this is that. I mean, he is like with
Magic.
our generation's Chuck Norris. They've been calling him. I think he's going to find DJ Chark. I think that he's just got such a chip on his shoulder and so much to prove. I think that he's going to make it with his legs, with his arm, whatever he has to do. I think Garner has a really, really big game today, and he's going to have to throw the ball a lot to
like
keep
that.
up. So I
He's
think
gonna
Garner.
have to because we don't have a running
Yeah.
back.
So and Marlon Mack, I expect Marlon Mack on the other side of the ball. He is vying to keep his starting job. Everyone's high in this Jonathan Taylor thing, and Marlon Mack went very, very low in a lot of the fantasy drafts. And so
You got any fantasy questions there, Carl? I know you do always.
yes,
Yes, he is.
but he might be limited.
He might be a decoy too.
So who's our guy? Scott is the Philip.
You got Scotty Miller.
Scotty Miller.
Scooter,
Yeah, Scotty
as
Miller.
Tom
Yeah, they
Brady
say
has
he.
dubbed him,
We're
Scooter.
looking for a
They
deep
just said
streamer too.
Justin someone.
Justin Evans is there well, and then you got Scotty Miller.
Yeah, look for Scotty Miller on your daily fantasy to be a good guy to plug in there.
So they might put Chris Godwin as the number one. He'll be the route runner, and you might have Scotty Miller and Justin Evans as that slot guy.
Carl, who's your quarterback?
Okay, you got.
All right, you have a big game. All right. Who are you playing today? Oh, you better beat Mark.
All right, let's get into our picks for week 1. We're gonna go down the line. We're gonna go through our picks. Our first matchup is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington football team. Who do we got week 1 coming out of the Eagles and the Washington football team? Kaylee, let's go with you first.
The Eagles, obviously. I mean, I don't like them. I don't think they have a great team this year, but I do think anyone at this point can beat the Washington football team. So,
I mean, we could, us four.
yeah.
I'm picking them both to lose.
So a tie.
Tie.
Okay, we're tie. You can't do that. You can't do that.
No, I'm not. I'm going Eagles. Obviously, like I said, anyone with an Ohio State quarterback, they're gonna lose. So we're going Eagles, unfortunately.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, I will unfortunately go with the Eagles as well, even though I hate that team the most. But the Washington football team is terrible. They need to find it somewhere. The Eagles all the way. So let's go with Miami and New England. Who do we got? Patriots debuting Cam Newton and the offense going against Miami and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who do we got?
Normally, the Patriots lose in Miami when they go to Miami, but that's a Tom Brady thing. So I think they flip it around. I think it's going to be closer than people expect, but New England's going to win this one.
All right, Taylor.
New England. Ryan Fitzpatrick's a Harvard guy, but Bill Belichick is still smarter.
Yeah.
So Patriots.
I agree. I think it is going to be closer, like Kristen said. I don't think it's going to be a runaway for the Patriots, but I think they're going to win.
Well, I am the lone wolf. I am
Oh.
picking Miami.
That's
Wow.
how you get the
Because
belts, being a
Of
little wolf.
Fitzpatrick's success against the Patriots, even though they were led by Tom Brady, I still think it's going to continue against the Cam Newton-led New England Patriots. Let's move on. We had these two teams battling out for their division. We got the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, there's not going to be any fans in that dome of theirs for the Vikings. Do you think that's going to affect the Vikings in any way going against the Packers at all? Where are you guys going with the Packers or the Vikings? Let's go with you, Kristen.
It's the Dalvin Cook show today. I think that you're going to see a little bit of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, but I think Dalvin Cook is going to run all over them. I don't believe in Green Bay this year. I think the Vikings. You didn't ask me earlier, by the way, and I think the Vikings are going to win that division.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll say it now.
All right.
But I'm actually, like I said, since I picked Green Bay to win the division, I'm going with Green Bay today. I think this is actually the game of the day. I think it's going to be the best. This and along with your Bucks Saints game, I think
No, it's going to be a great
of the
game,
day.
and it's going to be a ground and pound, boring running game. Where your game's going to be an air attack.
You'll see a lot of
So-
Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook, you
Yeah.
think? Okay.
Yep.
Kaylee?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the Vikings. I don't like what Green Bay's done in the offseason. I don't see them going big, but I do think Dalvin Cook's going to be a huge guy today. You know, he's getting paid. I believe in him.
Well, I like, even though I like Minnesota's defense, I'm never going to go wrong with Aaron Rodgers. So I've got Aaron Rodgers on the road beating the
All right.
Minnesota Vikings
Sticking with me.
in Minnesota. So let's go with the Indianapolis Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think we can all agree. And
Tank for Trevor.
so
My survivor pick
tank
was
for-
Colts
that's
for
right.
today. So
Kaylee,
They
who do you
better
think's going to win this game?
Okay, on paper, on the button on the app, I push the Jaguars because I'm not a fan who's going to bet against
Okay.
my team.
But
It is bad karma.
mentally, who do you think is really going to win the game?
Voting with my heart, the Jaguars. With my head, the Colts. Very obviously, but we're gonna have fans there.
are they
Okay.
going to cover the spread? 9 points, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because we got Josh Lambo. So I mean,
It's true.
if you can put up 4
That's
field
true.
goals and then soccer slide on the field afterwards, I think we're
So
good.
you're trying to pick up Lambo in fantasy.
I'm a Lambo gal. Big believer in Lambo.
Taylor, who do you got? You got the Jacksonville
I'm going
Jaguars.
Colts.
Okay, Colts. And then Kristen, you got the Colts.
Colts all
I've
day.
got the Colts as well. Let's go over to the Chicago Bears going into the Detroit. This game's probably going to be a sloppy one. We'll probably see a lot of interceptions from Mitchell Trubisky. Who do we got? Bears versus the Lions.
Lions.
Oh yeah, the Lions. Steve told me to pick the Lions, so I picked the Lions.
Of course he did.
Okay, I'm going with the Bears.
I'm going with the Bears too. I think
I can't pick Mitchell Trubisky.
it's
to win
okay.
ever.
We're split 2-2. That's
We are.
all
Yeah,
right.
Matthew Stafford will be great for 4 weeks until he breaks his back and gets COVID.
That's true. Okay. Let's go on to one of the other 1 o'clock games. The Las Vegas Raiders making their debut as the Las Vegas Raiders in Carolina. Who do we got? Raiders or the Carolina Panthers?
CMC show, even though I said Jacobs would have more. But no, I think it's in Carolina. I just don't think the Raiders I like she said earlier, they're an enigma to me, and I just know the Panthers. I trust Teddy Bridgewater and Christian McCaffrey.
There's always that crazy stat with the West Coast team traveling to the East on a 1:00 start. It's always bad for the West Coast team, but I'm going Raiders because
You want free shots from Carl?
No,
Doesn't
just,
everybody?
I just think Carolina's bad, really bad, and so
They're just
yes,
bad.
They're
Okay,
just bad.
okay.
But yes, I can see where you guys would pick Carolina to win this game. If they're going to win any game, I can see them winning this one. But I'm going Raiders.
Kayla, who do we got?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Panthers only because, you know, like you said, if we're gonna pick them to win, it's gonna be early. I think CMC can only really carry that team on his shoulders for so long. I love him. He's gonna have another big year, but at the end of the day, week 1, he can pull it out against a young Raiders team who's traveling. Yeah.
Okay, we're split on this one. Taylor, we don't agree on much, but I'm picking the Las Vegas Raiders to win on the road. I know, right? All right, let's move on to an AFC East
Real
matchup.
quick before you go, who's going to be the Raiders' lead receiver today? We can have
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs, not
Ruggs
Hunter
all day.
Renfro.
Tyrell Williams
Byron
is
Edwards.
hurt.
Waller.
You're going
Waller.
Darren Waller. Oh, yeah, that's yeah.
I
I would
mean-
say between Ruggs and Waller, those two guys, but I'm going with Ruggs.
All right, Brian Edwards is a big name. Once Tyrell Williams is down, so I was just curious. I'm excited to see what happens there.
An AFC matchup, we've got the Buffalo Bills against Adam Gase and the New York Jets. Obviously, the
Circle
Bills.
the
We're all going
wagons.
Bills.
Bills. Okay, let's move on. Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens. Kristen, I'm going to go to you last. Kaylee, who do you think is going to win out of this matchup?
It hurts me, but the Ravens.
I'm going Ravens, but I do think the Browns will cover that 8-point
Yeah.
spread.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's be close.
I think this might be an actual close game between these two teams. I am picking the Ravens, though, so I've got Ravens at home against the Browns.
I'm taking the Ravens, but I mean, the Browns will be 500 next week.
Wow.
The Browns never
Your
start off.
dad is looking at you as
And
such
my
a
dad
disgust.
flip flops between the Bucks and the
Wow.
Browns, anyways. Pick a team, sir. Pick a team.
Dad, who do we got, the Ravens or the Browns? Okay.
But me and Dad are now in our charity fantasy league, the Charity Pros of Joe.
Pros
He
and
is my
Joes.
Joe, and so we will have him on a future show asking all his fantasy questions.
All right, let's go with the last 1:00 game today. We've got the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Atlanta today against Chip's Dirty Birds, and also somewhere around here. Do we got Seattle going into to Atlanta beating the Atlanta Falcons today, or we got the Falcons winning? Kaylee, let's go with you first.
Seahawks all the way.
Yeah, I mean, once again, West Coast going East Coast, 1:00 game, but Seattle's so much better than
No,
Atlanta.
but Seattle is actually one of the notorious ones of always losing when they go west
Right.
or to the East Coast at 1:00. I'm taking the Falcons in this game. I think they get off on the right foot at home. I think that then Chip's going to be really happy for about a week, and then he's going to be sad after that.
Well,
But yeah, Chip, I got your Falcons today.
It makes sense that a lot of these teams that we don't think are good, I could see them winning earlier in the
Yeah.
season than later until the better teams get, all their gears
Yeah,
rolling.
with no
But
preseason, like you said, it's anyone's game right now.
I've got the Seattle Seahawks on the road against the Falcons. Sorry, Chip, I just got to go with my gut.
I love you, Chip.
Let's go with our 4:00 games. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals with their new starting quarterback and Joe Burrow at home with AJ Green back. They've got Joe Mixon back. They've also got T. Higgins, who they got in the draft as well. The defense looks to be a little bit better. Do you think the Bengals could pull it out against the Los Angeles Chargers, or do you think the Chargers are going to go into Cincinnati and beat the Bengals?
I'm not taking a rookie quarterback for a start, even at home. I'm taking the Chargers, just a more experienced team. I think he's going to have a tough day against Joey Bosa out there.
I actually could see the Cincinnati winning this game, to be honest with you, because I do like their weapons, but I think San Diego, they're
Los
They're-
Angeles,
whatever they are. Their D line is just too good, and Burrow's going to be running with a chicken with his head cut off all game because their offensive line is so bad.
Kaylee?
I'm taking Cincinnati. I think early in the season, that's when they can pull it out. I think Joe Burrow is going to look really good for a while, and he's going to have a lot of talk, but I think they're going to settle into a rookie year as he gets later in the season. But I think they can pull it out today.
I'm actually going with the Bengals as well. I think
Ooh.
Joe Burrow is going to shock a lot of people today by beating the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think you guys are stupid.
Well, that's okay. That's why we're entitled to our opinion. So, our other 4:00 games, we've got the Arizona Cardinals going into San Francisco. This is going to be a great matchup, I think, between these two teams. Who do we got in the Cardinals and the 49ers? Kristen?
I'm taking the Cardinals today. I don't know why, but I'm taking them maybe because Kyler is my fantasy quarterback. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. I think with Deebo Samuel out and losing a couple of running backs there, I think 49ers are going to take a couple games to figure things out.
I think it's 49ers. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, as I mentioned before, and I think their D is going to keep this game a little close, and they're going to win with some stuff to Kittle and some running game, and that's all they really need to win.
I think, I'm going to go 49ers. I think the Cardinals will pick up momentum later in the season, but I think the 49ers are just going to stop them on defense.
Monster game from Kittle, by the way. Arizona gives up more touchdowns to tight ends than anyone else.
Kristen, it's
so.
me and you. I picked the Cardinals as well.
You're a smart man
That's
now.
right.
I take it back saying you're stupid.
There we go. All right, our last two matchups are probably going to be, I think this one is going to be one of the games of the week. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by the now Sir Thomas Brady, going into the New Orleans Superdome, which they won't have any fans. They've always been that 12th man on that team. So is Tampa Bay going to be going into New Orleans and beating the Saints, or is Drew Brees and his old ass going to be beating Tom Brady's old ass against the Bucs? Who we got in the Bucs and the Saints?
Drew Brees is like an 82% completion rate against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's going to give all those completions today to Michael Thomas. Now, my question, are they allowed to pump fan noise into empty stadiums?
They are.
They are, because I know it's illegal when there's actually fans in the stadium.
They have a certain decibel. They can have the crowd noise, but it can't be at like huge.
Falcons got fined for that.
Yeah, well, that's when there was crowds. That'd be funny if like they based it on what your decibel is when you have fans.
They do.
They do. So okay, so it sounds okay. But I am going with the Saints here, just in the Super Bowl. And Drew Brees is. I looked up the stats. I thought he was a lot better in his game ones. I was like, oh, he's great at home in game ones. So he's actually about 500 game one at home. But I'm going with the Saints here.
I'm also going with the Saints. I wish this game was in Tampa with this monsoon coming down right now. I could actually see Tampa winning this game if it was in Tampa with this monsoon, but I'm going Saints all day. Like I said, I think they're going to win the division easy.
Kaylee?
Yeah. Saints, I think the Bucs defense and especially their secondary, they're just too young. They're not deep enough there. I think the Saints kind of run all over them, but I do think it'll be sloppy and a lot of offense.
So I am the lone wolf. I am picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Hey, stick with your team. Stick
I
with
am
your
sticking
heart.
with my team, unlike some people over here. So, all right, our last matchup today is Taylor Maville, your Cowboys, going to LA facing the LA Rams. Who do we got in the Cowboys and the Rams?
I mean, Cowboys all day. New stadium, but I mean, we're gonna open up that bag of offense tonight, and it's gonna
Are
be
they still
spectacular.
monitoring this for smoke? Because I heard there's a chance this game might not be played tonight.
Yes, I think there was a chance they were trying to move this game to somewhere else because of the wildfires in California.
Yeah, so there is still a chance, like depending, how fast those fires move. But I am taking the Dallas Cowboys. I think the off the right foot. Zeke is going to have a huge game today, and the Rams aren't going to be as bad as we think, but they're not going to have it all figured out today.
No, I think the Cowboys are going to run away with it. It's going to be a big game for them.
I've got the Cowboys as well, and obviously we all know where Taylor's going with this is the Cowboys all day. All right, our 2 Monday night picks. Before we get on out here, the Steelers versus the Giants, Titans versus the Broncos. Who do we got for the first game at 7 o'clock with the Steelers and the Giants?
I'm picking Steelers like 34-10.
Okay. That's a bold. I like that. Taylor, who we got?
I don't think it's going to be that big. I think the Giants are going to score some more points against the Steelers because I'm not a big fan of the Steelers. I don't defense as much, I think Saquon's going to get some touches. Danny Dimes is going to have some good throws, but he's also going to turn the ball over a few times. So I'm going to pick the Steelers.
Kaylee,
Yep.
Danny Dimes, your second favorite quarterback. Who do we got? Do we got the Giants or the Steelers in this one?
The Steelers, but I do think the Giants will put up at least 14. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I've got the Steelers in this one. I think we'll see Big Ben in his old-fashioned form before he got drunk like a Santa. Okay, our last game, we've got the Tennessee Titans going on the road against the Denver Broncos. Who do we got?
I think the Titans are riding their coattails from last season for a few weeks into the season going to Denver, but I think they lose their luster about 3-4 weeks in, but I have Tennessee taking this one.
I actually think Denver's going to win this game. Just going to Mile High, first game of the season, you're not in shape, and you're not going to be able to deal with what's coming your way. Denver's good enough to be able to pull a win off in a game of this magnitude, so I think they're going to actually pull off the victory here.
Yep. Going with Denver. I think I like Drew Lock. I mean, I like him week 1 at home. I don't like the Titans at all for any reason. So again, as a homer, I'm just going to bet against Titans.
All right, well, I've got the Titans in this one as well. Well, those are our picks for NFL Week 1. Guys, this has been great for our live show here at Rafferty's Bar and Grill. We didn't think we'd be back because of COVID, but we are back. Sports Caffeine will be here possibly, hopefully, every Sunday for our NFL pregame show. Remember to follow us on all the social media platforms. We'll be streaming live here as well. For myself, Kristen, Taylor, and Kaylee, we will see you guys. Enjoy NFL Week 1. It's been Sports Caffeine, and we are out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Sports Caffeine, available for streaming on FanStreamSports.com and FanStream Sports, the app.